So Ben, could you please start the live stream? Oh, perfect, right on time. All right, hello and welcome to the third fall session of the Student Government Association Senate. My name is Nicholas Goimarack and I am Chief Justice of SGA's Judicial Board. I will be chairing the Senate meeting. Joel, do we have a quorum?
We have a lovely 20 senators with us tonight and counting, so indeed, we do have a quorum.
Excellent, thank you. Some reminders as we start tonight, given how much business we have, keep your remarks short. When asking your question or participating in the discussion, please keep your remarks under a minute. Senator, during questioning periods, ask questions. All comments must be respectful and courteous. Stay on topic. We have a lot to do. No one wants to be here past 11. Side note, we have 8 things on the agenda, so we're going to be here a while. Please actually make motions when I ask you to. Use Robert's Rules of Order to determine when and what motions are appropriate. As a reminder, this meeting is live streamed via YouTube. If you are uncomfortable with your audio or video being shared, keep your microphone muted and camera off as appropriate. At the request of senators, once a voting form has been opened, it will remain open until the start of the floor. At that point, the voting forms will be closed and the results tabulated with the results released at the end of open floor. We have a very full schedule. The Senate will be confirming a new Greek life senator, voting on nominees for executive vice president, 4 organizational proposals, and a nominee for associate justice. We will then have executive reports, open floor, the announcement of results, the administration of oaths of office, and adjournment. Our first order of business is a confirmation of the appointment of a new Greek life senator, Patrick Dilger. Patrick, would you care to introduce yourself?
Nick, you're reading an old version. You missed a resolution.
Should I refresh?
You should refresh.
Let's see. Our first order of business is a resolution to move the Senate back to weekly meetings. Senator Rhea and Kramick, would you care to introduce your resolution?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, resolutions pulled up there and I can make any amendments as people would request it, but I think it kind of gets the job done. Obviously, I think tonight is a perfect example that we have a lot going on in Senate, especially this semester. There's a lot of things coming on our agenda between procedural things, confirmations, as well as a lot of student organizations seeking approval. And yeah, I think it would be most effective if the Senate were to meet on a weekly basis. It would make our meetings a little bit shorter. We can actually invest in a little bit more conversation as opposed to speeding through everything. So yeah, it outlines the basically the off weeks of what Senate is right now. October 6th, 20th, November 3rd, and 17th, and December 1st, we would have meetings instead of not meeting on those Wednesdays at the same time and place. Just instead, we are meeting on those days. So does anybody have any questions as to what this would functionally do or why we're proposing it?
Yep, so like Derek said, we're going to move into the standard 5-minute questioning period. Raise your hand, use the raise hand feature, turn your camera on, raise your hand, ask a question in chat, somehow indicate that you have a question.
I might also just briefly add to pass this according to our constitution or bylaws, I can't remember, one of the two, requires 10 senators to pass. It's not a simple majority. It just requires at least 10 senators or voting members of the Senate to sign on to it. So that's all.
If there are no questions, do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion to approve.
A second? Perfect, thank you. Okay, perfect. We will now begin the 5-minute discussion period. Please raise your hand in any method to make comments on the resolution. Naeem?
Oh, hi, yes, wonderful. As many know, RHA was scheduled to have its first meeting next week, but there was no SGA meeting next week. So we had to move it to the 11th. Yay. So RHA is going to be meeting weekly, and SGA should also be meeting weekly because, as to my knowledge, we have no shortage of things to meet about. And especially with the many things going on around residence life and the many things going around life in general at the IIT, we have plenty to talk about. And frankly, a lot happens in 2 weeks. Enough happens in one. So definitely, even though there are more meetings, they don't go for as long when you meet twice as frequently. So definitely, I am a fan of returning to the traditional weekly structure for our meetings. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much for that. I just want to draw everyone's attention to Nova's comment in the chat. I'm not going to read it out, but for the purpose of awareness, feel free to look at that. Do we have any other comments to make? If not, do we have a motion to call the previous question?
So moved.
A second?
A second.
Perfect. The previous question has been called. Joel, please release a voting form. Our next order of business is a confirmation of the appointment of a new Greek life senator, Patrick Bilger. Patrick, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Let me see. Can y'all see me? Hopefully. So hopefully I can be the new Greek life senator. I have been part of the Greek Quad since 2018, specifically in the Delta Tau Delta House. But I hope to represent everyone in the Greek life community, every chapter. I want to be able to, we stand Greek life. Yes, we do, Kiro. But I want to represent everyone. I plan on talking with every president in the Quad and other chapters, just to relay information, not only just to be a representative of Greek life. I want to also take concerns of students on campus that have about Greek life and address those, not just a representative of Greek life, but of everyone. So that's like my whole spiel. I want to build up a better community between Greek life and other organizations on campus. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Patrick. Next, we're going to move into the standard 5-minute questioning period. Raise your hand, emoji, raise hand, anything like that to ask Patrick a question.
No, Shahan, I cannot hear you downstairs.
Okay, if there's no question, do we have a motion to approve the appointment? Oh, wait, I skipped something. No, I didn't. A motion to approve the appointment?
Second.
A first and a second. Thank you so much, everyone. Can we please get Patrick in the waiting room, whoever is running the Zoom meeting? I'm not sure who. And once that is done, inform me when that is the case.
Moved.
Okay, perfect. We will now begin the standard 5-minute discussion period. Raise your hand in any of the variety of ways that you have available to yourself to discuss Patrick's nomination. Oh, great. So we have another comment from Nova in the chat. Again, I'm not going to read it out, but I just want everyone to read it themselves and potentially respond. If we don't have any other comments, do we have a motion to call the question?
Just to let you know, Nick, Lucy Kegley, one of our senators, was raising her hand.
Yeah, I just see that now. Lucy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I also talked to Patrick at the retreat. And one thing that I really appreciated was he kind of heard some concerns that people have with Greek life and kind of the stereotypes that surround that, specifically with like sexual assault and things like that. And he was very genuine in kind of responding to that and seeing if there was any like pressing issues regarding that. And I think that's really important to have as a Greek life senator, because like he mentioned, he's not only representing Greek life itself, but also like the relationship between students and Greek life as well.
Thank you so much for that, Lucy. And just a heads up, I can't see all of the screen. So if you use the emoji raise hand feature, I can't see it all the time. So if you use the actual raise hand feature or you turn your camera on, then I definitely will see you. Just a heads up. Elio?
Yeah, I agree with Lucy. I believe he's perfectly capable of that. I did ask him a very similar question about that just because, the recent incidents that were happening in other universities, including, I believe, one that was happening at UIC or UIUC. He's perfectly capable of operating, as a Greek life senator, and he's able to represent Greek life as a whole, in my opinion. And him being able to reach out to the presidents as well will probably help him, even more.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have Derek making the motion to move the previous question. Do we have a second? And we have a second from Nova. Thank you so much. The previous question has been called. Joel, please release the voting form. And you can let Patrick back into the room then. Our next order of business is selecting an executive vice president from among the nominees from before the Senate. Given that there is only a single nominee for office, I would ask for unanimous consent in approving Kiru Ahmad to the office of executive vice president. If you object to Kiru's approval for any reason, please register that objection now using the raise hand button or any other method. Since there are no objections, Kiru Ahmad is unanimously appointed to be the next executive vice president. Congratulations, Kiru. Our next order of business is Barb's at IIT proposal. Bilal, you have the floor.
Hi, can we share the sharing privileges with Layla, if possible? We have a presentation.
Yes, of course. Let's give that to you real quick. I believe the host of the meeting
privileges.
Ben. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
One moment, sorry, technical difficulties. There we go. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yep, and we can see your screen. You're ready to go.
Awesome. So hello, my name is Bilal Coker. I'm a fourth year chemical engineering student here at Illinois Tech.
And I'm Ayla Alcatel. I'm a fourth year computer science student.
We just first of all want to say thank you to the SGA and Senate for giving us this time to propose our organization. We really appreciate it. And without further ado, we are introducing Barb's at IIT as a new club at IIT. So Nicki Minaj is a notable rap star who is known for inspiring and bringing together millions of fans across the world. And her platform speaks a message of self-acceptance, determination, diligence, and self-advocating. And the Illinois Tech student population happens to hold a heavy amount of individuals who identify as fans and supporters of her. So for some context, Barb's is the official fan base name for Nicki Minaj fans and supporters. We, as the founders of this organization, chose this name as a way to help create an environment for acceptance, motivation, and success on campus. These values form the basis of this fan base, and that's why we chosen it as a name for our club. In regards to our purpose, our organization plans to create a space for all individuals who agree with the message and platform as Nicki Minaj, as well as to create a comfortable environment for acceptance for all students on campus. As mentioned earlier, there's a large number of students on campus who identify as Barbs. And so far, we've had over 30 students sign up our interested sheet, as well as several alumni who have reached out saying that if our organization gets approved, they would love to attend our events. Now, you might ask, what is the benefit of having a student organization like this? It goes without saying that it's very different from any other student organization that we currently have, but that's exactly the point. We want to bring in a new and different aspect to the Illinois Tech environment. Additionally, we want to create a safe space for students who share similar interests in Nicki Minaj and her artistry to express themselves. Furthermore, connecting all these students together on a campus is going to create a whole new community for our university, which is truly important now that we're coming out of COVID. And lastly, having a set of fun and exciting events and activities for the student body to enjoy would create and bring a new positive atmosphere to campus. Speaking of which, here are some of the events we plan on having. The first one being Bowling with the Barbs, which will just be a fun way for students to get to know each other and share their mutual interests. And there's Nikki Night at the Bog, where we hope to have karaoke and other fun activities. Next, we have the University Fashion Show. Nicki Minaj is known for self-advocating, being yourself, expressing who you are. And we think an event like this would truly be exhibiting this. And we want this event in particular to be a collaborative event between multiple student organizations, especially Greek Life. And it would be a great opportunity to bring the campus together. And lastly, we plan on having the occasional study night. Nicki Minaj, as an artist, has been a huge advocate for student success in academics. And having a group study session with individuals with mutual interests can really help to inspire students to excel in their courses here at IIT. Now, over here, we have a potential budget we may consider having if our organization does get approved. These values displayed here are, of course, just approximations, and all the events we have displayed here, we hope to execute sometime within the next upcoming 2 semesters or year. So total, we're asking about $1,420. And so with all that said, we truly believe that Barbs at IIT can create an environment to help students really enjoy their time here at Illinois Tech. And we truly hope you consider our organization for approval. Thank you so much for listening. And any questions?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. We're now going to move into the 5-minute questioning period. I think I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I fully support this org. Any questions? Raise your hand using any of the features. Type in chat, turn your mic on. If not, do we have a motion to approve? Oh, actually, Derek.
Yep, I did have just one quick question. I think so far, like the organization is very unique. Obviously, your concept is very unique, which I think is great to bring to campus. Most of your events, I will say, it looked like you might have trouble with some uniqueness, but I do want to learn more about, especially like the fashion show, seeing what that might be able to bring to campus.
So Bilal, do you want to respond to that, or your Leela?
Yeah, I can respond to that. Sorry. Yeah, for sure. Technically, we thank you so much for, of course, bring that up. We definitely want to have a variety of different events, and these events that we displayed here are just some different proposals of what we might do. And of course, having this aspect of having a university fashion show, of course, would, as we said, create a very diverse environment, create something new. And the reason that we're doing it from our organization that makes it kind of different is, as I said, it's something that the individual that our artistry that we support is really big advocate for. Additionally, we want this to be a collaborative experience, if anything, with different organizations throughout the school. So as I said, Greek Life and different organizations we've already reached out to. And we think that our organization can really facilitate that. And yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much, Bilal. Before we hop over to Elio, I just want to make everyone aware of a link that Ursula has dropped in the chat. Again, I'm not going to read it out, but feel free to explore that on your own time. Next, Elio.
Yeah, it was actually a reference to that link before you put that link in, and it's actually a reference to quite a few things. As you know, there tends to be a little bit of, I guess, issues when it comes to representation of people such as Nicki Minaj. I'm wondering what might be, like, say these issues of representation from Nicki Minaj are, issues that could be problematic for the university. What will you do to protect the university in any case of these issues? What would you do to protect the college itself from any representation of that?
Of course, I completely agree. I think that especially when you have artists in the spotlight, a lot of these issues come up to play. Again, the purpose of this club is to support her artistry and things that come out of that. And I think it's really important that, when conversations come out about, for example, the issues that have been coming out is, for example, COVID vaccination or sexual assault or whatever it might be, I think it's important to create that conversation. And I think our organization as a whole would support whatever it might be to have that conversation done, to stand by, whatever the university's policies are, and to create an open space for that, if anything. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
All right, do we have any more questions? We have a question from Nabiha in the chat. Can someone clarify, aren't GBM supposed to be virtual? I'm not sure if that's a question for Bilal. Maybe Rachel, can you take that? Or I'm not sure who can speak to that.
So at the organizational training / I forget what it's now called, orientation, at the beginning of the year, there was a request from the Office of Campus Life that student orgs minimize their in-person GBMs just because of the shortage of physical space during, 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. So yes, if you can avoid physical GBMs, we are currently requesting you to do virtual GBMs.
All right, thank you for that insight. Since we seem to be at the tail end of questions directed towards the prospective org, do we have a motion to approve the org?
I actually do have a question.
Oh,
If no one
sure.
else wants to go.
Joel?
One particular issue that SGA has to deal with when thinking about these organizations is their longevity and how long they will actually last throughout the years. How are you going to keep your club alive throughout the years into the future?
Yeah, of course. I think that that's a really important concept, if anything, for all organizations. I think, how can we, not only what are we bringing to the table, but also what can we do long term? And I think just having a base such as Barb's in general, right? It's create such a strong fan base, if anything. And there's always going to be consistent following, we believe, and that's why we think we want to make an organization for this. It'll always be consistent individuals wanting to participate and be involved. And along with that, creating events. And we don't want just this to be an organization, but we want this to create almost a community, a family in a sense. And we feel like that will carry on as time goes along with all the efforts, of course, to maintain members and activities.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Any last minute questions? I think we're past the 5-minute mark. So I would entertain a motion to extend or a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
A second? Do we have a second? Thank you. Could we please put the org representatives in the waiting room? And once that is done, and some indication of that is given to me, we'll move into the standard 5-minute discussion period. Just hold on until we get them moved out.
They're out.
Thank you so much, Ben. Standard boilerplate language applies. Raise your hand, turn your camera on, anything at all indicate to me that you want to discuss. We have a chat from Nova. Again, I'm not going to read it out, but all of you should read it and consider it and potentially reply. We have another chat from Derek. Elio, I hope I'm saying your name right.
Yeah, no, you're good. I did want to bring up that little concern about longevity and this, because COVID, of course, is not going to go away probably within the next year. And my single concern I have is, the longevity of the club. How long will it last if, say, we go back into another quarantine? Because this club seems very heavily event-based, in-person events at least. So, that's just my concern about that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And then we have another chat from Kiru. So just make sure everyone's staying on top of the chat, considering them in their vote. If we don't have any more comments that I see at least, hope we have another chat from Nova. Do we have a motion to call the question? Nabiha, would you like to speak?
Yeah, actually, I understand what Elio is saying. He's saying, I understand there's and the list of people are from different years and different grades, but we're worried that if a quarantine about to happen, another one, what would you do? Like, what would your GBMs will be about? Because this seems like a very event-based club, and not a lot could happen for in person. So I was wondering what kind of virtual events would you do?
Well, just a heads up that this is not questioning period. This is
Oh,
just
I'm
question
so
period,
sorry.
but that's a
You're
good
right.
insight. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So again, if we don't have any questions, I would entertain a motion to call the question.
No, it's fine. Okay.
All right, Wyatt, thank you. A second. Thank you, Elio. The previous question has been called. Joel, please release the voting form. Then you can let back in the representatives from the org. Next order of business is the IDGA proposal. Joey, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna start sharing my screen here. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Joey Haskins. I'm the president of the International Game Developers Association at IIT, and I'm here to present my organization to you guys. So I guess I should start off with what the IGDA is. So IGDA is an organization that helps students network and socialize with other students who want to make video games, board games, any kind of games, prepare students for a successful career in games, help students learn more about game development, and help students make a lot of games. So our current executive board is myself as president, Ben Barber as vice president, Bradley Estacio as treasurer, and our faculty advisor is Dr. Carly Kochirik, who is the humanities professor that teaches a lot of the game design related classes. And for interested students, we tabled at the student organization fair, and 25 students filled out the interest form. So we seem to have a good amount of interest. It was mostly first year students and third year students, and a lot of computer science majors. But there was also some other majors in there that signed up. And we currently have a Discord server with 26 members, including myself and the executive board. So right now it's kind of looking like the best way to recruit more members is to set up a table on the bridge in MTCC. We'd like to present in the game studies and design minor classes, the history 373, humanities 371, and humanities 372, and potentially get into present the organization in CS 100 classes because so many computer science majors signed up. And in terms of events, our main thing is the weekly GBMs, where students will discuss game design, help each other with personal games related projects, and practice designing games. The next event that we're working on currently, in collaboration with our faculty advisor, Dr. Carly Kochirik, and the Kaplan Institute, is Game Bites. This is a show that our faculty advisor previously ran before COVID happened. And it's basically a juried show of student game design projects where students can show their works to game design industry professionals and get some feedback on that kind of thing. And that was open to all students in Chicago and was relatively well received when Professor did it in previous years. And so that's all I have to present to you guys for now. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Joey. Then we will now begin the 5-minute questioning period. And if you could stop sharing your screen.
Sorry, I got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, no worries. Just If there are no questions, are you sure no one has questions, really, guys? Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Thank you. We have multiple seconds. All right, please put the org representatives into the waiting room. I guess Ben has to put himself in the waiting room. That's a funny one. And now we're going to, once that occurs, we're going to move into the 5-minute discussion period. Just going to wait until I see people disappear. I think they're gone. I'm going to assume they're gone, and hopefully Ben is gone, so he shouldn't be here either. Oh, Ben is gone from one account, but not the other. Perfect. Does anyone have a discussion to make? Feel free to raise your hands using any methods by name. All right, any discussion, comments, concerns? Elio? Oh, and then Wyatt.
I like this organization. It seems very solid. It's something probably that could be educational to, not just computer science or related majors, but probably to every major. So yeah, I like this.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Wyatt?
So I filled out that interest form and I've been going to the GBMs, and yeah, they seem like they'd be very useful for students that are interested in especially game design. They have a lot of resources, I think, and the game bites, they in more detail, it's like a big game competition, but the judges give like feedback on your game. So I think if that was like implemented, it could be a very big like draw to campus, because it would be open to the public as well.
Yeah, thank you for that insight. We have a chat from Rachel giving us some reminders too. Yeah, and then we also have Naeem, not sure if he's conflicted out or not. That's fun. If there's no more discussion, do we have a motion to?
Oh, I'm trying to raise my hand, but can I go?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, anyway, so I just want to say that I have been attending weekly GBMs, and definitely considering the amount of interest there is for game design at this university, and the fact that there aren't as many classes, or our program really doesn't have the capacity to accompany the amount of interest there is, I think this org is definitely a good start to what really needs to be a bigger implementation of game design in general here at Illinois Tech, because frankly, considering how big the industry is and how big interest is, we're lacking a lot. So this is definitely a first step into what really needs to be a big undertaking for the university as a whole to really accompany the interest for this very much growing field.
All right, thank you for that, Joel.
I would just like to point out that one of our largest and most supported organizations on campus is the esports organization. And I feel like due to the amount of interest in the esports, there probably will be a corresponding amount in developing and students learning how to develop games. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then I just want to draw everyone's attention to a link that Sandy has dropped. Thank you for that. Feel free to click on it and consider it when you vote. And then we have a motion to move the previous question from Nova. Thank you so much for being helpful. Do we have a second? Perfect, thank you so much. The previous question has been called. Joel, please release the voting form. Ben, you can let in the representatives and yourself. The next order of business is the Kindred Spirit proposal. Gabriel, you have the floor.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, let me turn my camera on. Can you guys see me?
Yes, we can.
I'm trying to share my screen, but it's saying host is disabled. Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yep, we can see.
Okay. So hi, everyone. Thank you for the time. My name is Gabriel. I'm a master's student currently doing manufacturing engineering. And Yeah, so I'm here to present about Kindred Spirits, which is basically the hopefully upcoming music organization for IIT. So I got a little quote by Beethoven over there. To move into the second, that's my keyboard not working. There we go. Okay, so for my presentation today, I have a couple of slides, but I'll try to go through them without bursting the time limit. I'm going to go through introduction, vision, benefits, differences, executive board programs, budget, and a bit of Q&A. So introduction. Basically, why am I doing this, or like why is this a thing? Because the idea is that every other every other university around, or most of them, have some kind of like a music organization, but IIT doesn't seem to have something like that. I know there is Vandercook, but with the exception of Vandercook, which is more of like a focused kind of school, we don't actually have something for the general community to express music in. We do have one or two, but not on the scale. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on. So these are just general words that would represent our upcoming organization in a way, performance, community especially, and a level of artistry. So about me, why am I doing this? My name is Gabriel. I am a first-year master's student. My undergrad was at National University of Singapore, where I was vice president of a music organization called Jam City. So I have a level of experience in doing this. And when I realized there wasn't something like this in IIT, Rachel suggested that I make it. So here we are. This is a picture from some of my previous performances. So I'm showing this not show off, but because like I do aspire for something like this in IIT coming soon. So yeah, why Kindred Spirits? Because almost every other school has something like that. Music is present on IIT, but it's not integrated into the community. And what I mean by that is that it's not an integral part. Like we have music here and there, little patches of it, but it's not deep set in the community whereby it's a thing. Like if people want to join music, they know where to go. In IIT, it's either you're in Vandercook or you're not. And if not, then you find like the piano and MSV and that's about it. Beyond that, it's a means to bridge the community. This is one thing that I aim to look into, which is the bridges of the little bubbles of community. For example, Greek life versus the main body. Greek life, there is a little bit of a divide between Greek life and the main body, and music is a wonderful way to really bridge the gap. And even the techiest school needs an avenue to express some level of artistry. So that's something that I am hoping for. Vision and goals. So we aim to be IIT's music scene. Self-explanatory. Music for everyone, by everyone. What I mean by that is that I'm hoping for this organization to be a venue for everyone, regardless of experience, regardless of like what you play, whether you don't play anything at all. There's no talent requirement. There's no barrier to entry. Everyone is welcome. As long as you have a passion for music, you're welcome. And yeah, basically, that's music for everyone, by everyone. We want to bring home the performances because right now, every time I see a performance in the Bog, it's kind of outsourced. Like they hire people from outside, and it would be nice if students were the ones doing this. Community spirit, unity through sound, is what I mentioned earlier. I would like to bond the community as a whole, and music is a good way to do that, and a much needed creative outlet. Now, what benefits do we bring to students? So creative expression is an important thing. It sounds cheesy, but it's something that is taken for granted a lot. And we're in a tech school and a lot of people are doing STEM majors. And I feel that this is a good way for there to be a little check and balance on that. Like have a little creative expression to balance out the science and the techie stuff. And an exposure to music. Now, this means basically people get an exposure to a music scene on campus. The next point, co-sharing and co-teaching, means that students will be given the exposure to learn. So let's say I play drums and I want to teach somebody to play drums, and they can teach me piano in return. That's what we mean by co-teaching and co-sharing. You teach somebody, but you learn something in return as well. And management and coordination is another skill that students would learn from this, because they would be given the chance to manage events and learn from these events. Like what I mean by this is that when we run an event, students who are part of the organization would gain the management skills. It's not just like, oh, look, it's an event tomorrow, we're going to do it. They got to figure out logistics, the venue, the date, time, moving the equipment over. So these kind of things are like transferable skills into the industry when we leave IIT. Difference from other organizations. It's kind of a first of its kind from what I've been hearing. And there are other organizations like Hawkapella and the radio station, but they don't focus on the same scope that we're looking at. Like I'm looking for music, like a wide scope of music, everything from a string quartet to a full-on rock band. And Vandercook exists, but it's more of a music school where people learn to study and to be teachers in music. And this is feedback from Vandercook students who I spoke to, and they said they would love a community to just play along and socialize and not have a stressful environment for it. So, executive board. We have a current advisor who Rachel has suggested, which is Patrick Benson. But the current executive board, I've put up a planned structure here. Whereby we'll have president, VP internal, VP external. These two are the key because I've followed the structure that fraternities and sororities are actually using to some extent, because I feel that VP internal and external are going to be quite important in linking us with a lot of other organizations. Because as a music organization, we're going to have a lot of common ground with Greek life and with Union Board. So, and also with Hawkapella. So like having this is going to be pretty important. I won't take too much time going over the rest of them. As for programs and events, so this is the main category listing of events. Formal auditorium concerts. Think of this as like, a full-on auditorium. We book it out, you go in wearing suits, dresses, that kind of thing. It's like really like high end. We could sell tickets for that. And then formal dinner concerts is something I would like to get going, whereby like freshman welcome dinner. Then Bog Park events, which is basically we'll organize a standard rock concert in a park or at the Bog, have a good night, like probably free, and just a good time for students to chill out and bond amongst themselves. Open mic is a very chill staple kind of event, whereby imagine we book a room or we book like a community theater or something, and everyone's welcome to come in, sign up for it, do your lineup, do your thing, and show it off to the community. Love Jukebox is something I want to quickly go over, which is a Valentine's Day friendly event. So the idea of Love Jukebox is, say it's Valentine's Day, you want to wow someone, you hire us. We basically send a team to that person's room or door, or whatever, and they will read out your message and play a song of your choosing to that person on your behalf. So it's kind of a little feel-good thing, very beginner-friendly. And then co-teaching, co-sharing. And the Science of Sound is a little tech addition to the programs list, which is basically sharing by students of things you're passionate about. For example, how does the electric guitar work, electromagnetic induction, that kind of thing. Like a little bit of a tech addition to a music club. Budget. So this one's important. I have a 3-phase budget. What I mean by that is that phase 1, the organization is going to be building up. Phase 2, the organization's in transition, and phase 3 is when we're well established, and that's so each phase is going to have a slightly different budget. So in phase 1, because we need to procure equipment, right? That's when it's going to be a bit higher. And the thing about the phase 1 budget is it never comes back. Once we have the equipment, we never lose it unless we break it. We won't. And so yeah, once we have the phase 1 budget, it's going to go down. So this is an approximated phase 1 budget based on my research and talking to music stores like Chicago Music Exchange and Guitar Center. And I've already set up like contacts with those guys. So this would be phase 1, and I have a calculation sheet for it later. Phase 2 is transition. This is when we're basically building up. We've got our equipment, but we're recruiting people. So budget here is going to be low because we're not hosting huge events. We're more focusing on recruiting. This is about another 1 semester, like after phase 1. And phase 3 is when we're like full steam ahead. We've got a established organization, and our main spending, 70% of that is going to go to big events like the auditorium concerts, like formal dinner, open mic, these kind of things. So value returns. This is the important part that I want to highlight, is that we actually are going to save money.
I don't want to interrupt you, but Robert's rules normally gives you about 10 minutes and you're at 9 right now. So if you could just wrap it up.
Will do. I'll wrap it up. Budget value returns is that we save money because Union Board spends a lot of money basically hiring external musicians. When we are running in full steam ahead, we don't need to do that anymore. Like our people will be the ones doing this, and we're going to save that revenue for Union Board to basically run other events. So the student body benefits, everyone benefits. These are little calculations on my phases of budgets. Phase 1, 3,950. Phase 2, about 2.4K. And phase 3, about 3,900-ish, because I was told to keep the budget within 4K. So that's it. And we have about 35 interested students right now based on signups. That's about it. Any questions? We have a Discord. That's my email and my phone. I'm happy to take any questions from anyone.
Yeah, perfect. So now we're going to move into the 5-minute questioning period.
I'm so sorry I took so long. I had a lot to say.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for being so informative. Any questions for Gabriel? If there are no questions, do we have a motion to approve the org?
So moved.
All right, and do we have a second? Perfect, multiple seconds. If we could move the org representative into the waiting room, and once that is done, we will begin the standard 5-minute discussion period. I'm going to assume by the slide change that that has been done. So if anyone has any comments that they want to make, concerns, anything like that, feel free to raise your hand using any method. Elio?
I feel like this would be a good addition to the organizations. As he did mention, there's a very limited amount of music-related organizations. So I think this would be a proper addition. I think my only concern at this point would probably just be the budget.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anyone else? Okay, I just want to draw everyone's attention to Nova in the chat. As standard, I'm not going to read it, but take note of it. If there aren't any more comments, do we have a motion to call the question? Thank you, Wyatt. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Derek. The previous question has been called. Joel, please release the voting form. Ben, you can return the org representatives into the main meeting. The next order of business is the volleyball club proposal. Nathan, you have the floor.
All right, so I don't have a formal presentation, but yeah, I'm here representing volleyball club. We kind of unofficially started up at the beginning of the semester because with Welcome Week comes a lot of stand volleyball outside MTCC. There's a lot of new first years who really like playing. And as the weather changes, kind of people have to move indoors, and that's when it usually drops off. But especially with this year, we've noticed a lot of people who want to continue playing volleyball, and they want to be able to communicate with each other, and they want to be able to organize like large scale games with each other. And that's what we started to do individually. So we created a group that has now reached about 65 people. And we all have a group chat. We discuss with each other when we want to go. And it's kind of like, you know, just like this large group of people as it is right now. But we would like to be more official, to have our own space, and to be able to have all the benefits of an actual club with this magnitude. So as of right now, we have a roster of 37 people officially, and then we were lucky enough to stumble upon a actual volleyball coach. His name is Josh. He's been coaching volleyball since, or he coaches middle school and high school volleyball. He's a student here. He's a graduate student, and he's very experienced, and he's been donating his own time, coming out to instruct all kinds of people at our organized practices that we've been doing. So we have a great staff as it is. We have assistant coaches, some also very experienced volleyball players who also are very gracious to donate their time to come in and I guess instruct people who want to learn more about volleyball. And at the moment, we have intramural leagues with the IAT Rec Sports Club. But as we've heard from a lot of the people that we play volleyball with, that's not enough. We just have like a single game every week, and people want to practice. They want to get together, and that's kind of the goal of Volleyball Club.
All right, thank you, Nathan. Before we move into discussion, I just want to remind everyone in the meeting that we have moved on from the discussion of previous org. So please focus your attention towards Nathan. Moving into the 5-minute questioning period, starting with Lucy.
Yes, okay, thank you. So my question for you is, obviously as winter starts to get closer, you will probably have to move inside to Keating and continue your volleyball games inside, but have you considered how you're going to do that, given that like the NCAA sports teams get priority over Keating, and usually they have like practices at night or games, and then also since volleyball is like a fall/winter sport, if there will be volleyball nets that you will be able to use.
Yeah, so in Keating, as it happened to be by luck or chance or whatever, we ended up with a schedule where we go there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And we've been doing that almost every single week since maybe 5 weeks in a row now. And we have had no collisions with other groups. The volleyball teams, when they have their official practices, they do it on the main court in Keating. And we use mostly the north court. And they have nets for us that aren't used by the volleyball teams, so it doesn't collide with them at all. Yeah, so we have that good slot, those good time slots, and I've reached out to Keating staff, and I was asking them about like scheduling and stuff like that, and they're going to get back to me more in depth later, but they're saying that yeah, we have a good time slot. There's plenty of open gym time that Keating has to offer. So yes, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any more questions? We have a pseudo question from Chloe in the chat. I don't think it necessitates a response, but people should be of note of it. Since it seems like we want to move into discussion, do we have a motion to approve? Thank you, Wyatt. I love the Control V command. Do we have a second? Thank you. Perfect. We will now please move the org representatives into the waiting room. Once I see Nathan's name disappear. Perfect, he's gone. We will now begin the standard 5-minute discussion period. So now you can kind of fully consider Chloe's comment that she made. And anyone else that has comments, feel free to raise your hand, turn your camera on and wave at me, anything like that. Ryan.
I just wanted to say I've worked with Nathan throughout the org, kind of the steps before getting to the Senate meeting, and he seems very dedicated, very into what he's doing. And what I think he really has going for him is that they're already doing all these volleyball games. They're pretty organized about it, and I think they just want to formalize it and have those next steps. So I just wanted to offer that insight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ryan. Any other comments or concerns? Lucy?
So I think his response to my question was like good, and I'm glad that he's already kind of being proactive and working with Keating staff and making sure that they're still able to do their volleyball games while the other sports teams are practicing. One thing that was I'm looking at like oh wait, never mind. I forgot that there was multiple courts at Keating.
Yeah, no worries. I just want to make everyone aware that Nova has made a comment, so everyone should be aware of it. Do we have any more discussion type statement to be made? Chloe.
I was just gonna say for Keating, I know there's availability now, but I do know it gets a little busier in the next couple months for basketball season because there's men's and women's basketball playing. So sometimes all courts are reserved. So I just want to make sure that's being considered, but that's my like separate concern.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I'm assuming, Lucy, your hand is meant to be down, but I know it's hard to get the emoji to go away. Thank you. And then Joel.
I'm just wanting to respond to Nova's comment specifically. He was wanting someone to comment on the longevity of sports-oriented clubs at IIT. They do stick around for quite a while. I know that because I'm in charge of the archives project and I'm also the rock climbing club treasurer. And I know for certain that rock climbing has existed since at least 2005. So they do stick around for quite a bit of time if we have the right exec members behind it.
Yeah, thank you so much for that insight, everyone. I'm sure that will be very useful for voting members. If we don't have any more discussion comments, do we have a motion to call the previous question? Thank you, Nova. And a second, perfect. The previous question has been called. Joel, release the voting form. Ben, please let in the representatives. Our next order of business is the consideration of an associate justice nominee. As the nominee cannot be here, and I'm Chief Justice, I will read a statement provided to us from the nominee. So dear IIT Student Government Association Senate, I'd like to start off by apologizing for not being here in person. Unfortunately, I have a lab that runs late into the night on Wednesdays, and as such, I am either in class right now or in transit. Additionally, I'd like to thank you for considering my appointment. I believe that student government should be a force for helping the student body. This became apparent to me only after we were all sent home amid the beginning of the pandemic. Missing out on clubs and events left me eagerly awaiting for the return to normalcy. Even though we have made great strides towards getting fully there, I still sense something missing in regards to a gap in student involvement from where we left off and where we are now. But I hope to not only bring back the level of community that was left off with, but to go further than we ever have before. Specifically, I have noticed that IIT's involvement in our home, Bronzeville, is lacking. I hope by having voices in the top levels of student government aware of this deficiency will be mutually beneficial. By connecting with the people who we co-populate the South Side with, I believe that the surrounding neighborhoods will become less intimidating and have a better reputation than what some circles would assign them. Likewise, I believe women could be better represented within SGA. After seeing the ratio of females to males in SGA/IIT at large, I'd be especially concerned about the lack of female voices in the meetings that make important decisions for all of us. By providing and applying my experience and perspective, I hope to make the judicial board and student government a more representative and beneficial body. I believe that my experience in high school student government is perfect for this position, as I heard finance allocation complaints, which Nick and Nabiha have told me is a significant portion of cases the judicial board hears. Finally, I have experience in law adjacent clubs in high school, and I see this role as a continuation of that learning curve. Signed, Alex Ford. We will now begin the 5-minute question period. If you have any questions for me, my role as Chief Justice about how we selected Alex, feel free to ask me and I will answer. If there are no questions, or are you sure? No questions? If not, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to assume no questions. Do we have a motion to call it says approve the org, but I'm going to say call the question or approve the nominee. We have a motion and an approval, or in a second. Thank you. Oh, it's fine. I don't know the proper language. Alex isn't here. We will now begin the standard 5-minute discussion period. So if anyone has thoughts, concerns, comments, Nabiha.
Oh, my bad. So me and Nick have interviewed Alex, and I think he's a great addition to our judicial board because we do have hearings with finance board. And although we have somewhat knowledge of financial situations, we found out that Alex actually was a treasurer in a few of his clubs in high school, and he knew a lot more about finances. And we were like, oh, wow, that's actually really great. So that's why those are one of the reasons that we consider him. And also he believes in women's rights, and he believes that women in SGA should be represented more. And I feel like that's a great addition. And yeah, please vote for him. That's all I have.
Yeah, I'm sure if Alex were here, he would definitely appreciate that comment. Do we have any other comments or concerns or anything? If not, do we have a motion to call the previous question? Thank you, Nova. And a second. And a second from Wyatt. Thank you so much. The previous question has been called. Joel, please release the voting form. It is now time for exec report. Senators, if you have not yet voted, please vote now. We will be closing the voting at the start of open floor. So last warning for voting. Starting off with, once we turn the slide. Finance Board Chair, Chloe, what reports do you have for us?
Hi, yeah, sorry, I don't have anything written down on the slide. I just wanted to give a quick SAF update. This is what I've been presenting to the org treasurers during treasurer training, but I figured it's important for everyone here to know as well. In our most recent reports from the controller's office, we were told that in 2018 and 2019, the SAF had been overspent by about $250,000 per year, not semester, per year, to be clear. So essentially what we have now is a little lower than what we are used to spending. The reason that I'm bringing this up to you all specifically is to be just cautious when approving a bunch of orgs. Make sure to consider the funding that goes into orgs, as well as every other great thing about them, but just also make sure to consider the funding. Because I love promoting orgs on campus. I love funding orgs on campus, but I just want to make sure we're not continuing to prove a million organizations if we do have to spend a little bit less. So that is my report.
Thank you so much, Chloe, for much needed financial advice. Chief Justice, which is me. So just to update, we are nominating Alex today. Hopefully he's confirmed. Assuming he is, we'll also have one more vacancy, and I hope to have them at the top of the agenda for the next meeting. So hopefully you'll get to meet Emily in a week or two. VP of Events.
Hello, just some quick updates. We did get approval for having the Brave Space Alliance, something that Ben Barber, president, has been working on. It's going to be pro-trans and anti-racism training coming in November. And then we're also working on a couple of other events. We're going to have our programming coming out about next week for all the different specific events that we'll be doing this semester.
Yeah, thank you for that update, Ryan. Very important things to consider. VP of Communications. If they're not here, I'm not sure. Student life. Going once, going twice. Academic affairs.
Yeah, I'm just planning to hopefully meet with my committee. And I know that we had a couple of incidents where like students weren't really receiving accommodations that they should have. And it was more than one student actually related to like mental health services on campus and also just like the disability center. So I obviously was really upset with that. And I have some of it like outlined already, but I wanted to get it approved, of course, for the students that it's intended for. But I do want to open up a forum just because there was another incident relative to like student housing. And I think right now it's very clear that like, there's these entities on campus with faculty inside of them, but the way that they're responding to students' needs is unacceptable personally. And this was from like friends who I think felt inclined to tell me, but I know that there's a lot of students who may not have that accessibility towards me or that openness with other personnel on campus. So I really do want to launch that just because I'm curious to see if, these things are continuing to happen, why, and if there's anybody else within the office that has addressed it. They possibly may have, but not publicly. And I think one of the things that I'm hoping for, I know also, I don't know if it's going to be mentioned in another slide, but I know the new president is trying to do like sessions with students. So hopefully tomorrow, if my schedule allows, I'll be able to go and kind of ask that question if I can, but that's it for academic affairs.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sandy. Next, we're going to move on to President Ben.
Sure. So the first announcement is the General Assembly. We have confirmed a date and sort of an agenda for the evening. So it's going to be October 7th over the lunch hour. The first half of the hour is going to be the Black Student Union, Illinois Tech
I'm not sure if it's just me, but I no longer hear Ben. Can someone tell me if I'm crazy or?
I also
Yeah, I
stopped
can't
hearing him.
either.
I can't
Okay.
hear him.
Okay.
Teen Win.
Oh, now we can hear you, Ben. Okay, you're back.
Okay, where did you last hear?
We were just starting with BSU.
Okay, so orgs presenting include BSU, IT, Robotics, Illinois Tech, Esports, Intinium, and Prism. They're going to talk about what they're doing this semester and what their groups do. The second half is going to be a panel Q&A with President Eshembadi, Provost Kilpatrick, Gainstats, Teen Win, and our own dear Rachel Hirsch. So that's going to be a half hour of students being able to ask questions and get responses from these lead administrators. If you could scan the QR code and register if you're going to go. We're still trying to figure out what space we're going to be hosting this in. We're still trying to figure out how much food we need to order. So RSVPing as soon as you can would be greatly appreciated. Next, as Ryan said, we're doing a training with BSU and Prism to try to raise some intersectional awareness issues with student leaders. That training is looking like it's going to be on November 20th. We're bringing in an outside speaker from the Brave Space Alliance via Zoom. If you could scan this QR code, if you would be interested in attending, we are demonstrating to Finance Board the level of student interest in it. This QR code is going live now. So this is the first this form is being handed out. And then last but not least, the office move. So if you remember, we got approval to change offices over to a suite in Herman Hall that is substantially larger than the current office. That should be happening roughly around the time of Safety Week, i.e. the week of October 11th. The Constitutional Review Committee is supposed to present an update of what we're doing at the moment. We have selected a chair and a platform by which we are going to be doing the document. Sorry, I just saw something on video and I was trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, and I just swore on camera. And also the Undergrad Research Journal is taking submissions of undergraduate research up until December 19th. So if you've done research for the university, if you're an undergrad who wants to submit a research paper, this is a peer-reviewed journal published by the university featuring student research. So by all means, please submit your work. That's all I've got.
Before we move on, Ben, for the record, could you remind me exactly when that BSU Prism training will be happening in November?
November 20th, ideally. November 13th or 20th, we're still making sure that we can get the speaker for the date we want.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. President. Senators, this is your 1 minute warning. Joel, in 1 minute for the voting forms. Next, we're going to move on to Rachel for administrator report.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so sorry. My computer is garbage. So, but luckily I have a phone. So, Spirit Fridays are happening every Friday. I've seen a lot of you in spirit wear, and I just want to push for more people to be wearing spirit wear. If you are wearing spirit wear on Fridays, we will be walking around with things to give out to you, to reward you, and to continue with the tradition of Spirit Fridays. So you might have gotten a sticker from me already. You could have gotten a mask from me, maybe a credit card holder for your phone. So look out for that stuff on Fridays. And then I want to make sure that everybody has Union Board social channels on their radar, which look at IIT Union Board. That is the Instagram handle, because there are going to be some big announcements about very cool tickets coming soon. So if you are interested in going to kind of exclusive shows, that would be, or experiences, that would be a good place to take a look. We have hired a student to be an intern for Campus Life. They are going to be working on creating org websites. So they are going to teach you how to use Google Sites, or work with you to kind of get a site going. So please, if you are interested in that, you can send the welcome desk an email, and they will forward it on to Francis, and Francis will help you create a website for your org. And then we're going to actually take these websites and post them in Suitable. So there will be even more information for students interested in joining your orgs. And we are also looking at adding a join button for Suitable. So you have been heard on that. So we are going to work on that with them. We had that meeting today. It is Hispanic Heritage Month until October 15th. So make sure you are looking at events coming up. We are going to have a painter from Pilsen come and actually paint a mural on campus. I believe Life is going to be sponsoring that event with OCL. And then ensure that you are looking in Handshake. It is the 7th annual YPT COMTO ITE WTS Speed Networking event on October 7th. So please make sure you are thinking about life after the university, and you are participating in all those career activities that you can. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I definitely will have to make sure I'm wearing spirit wear on Fridays from now on. I got to get a sticker. All right. It is now time for open floor. Do any senators have anything to report? Naeem.
Hi, everyone. So I just had a couple of things for open floor, mainly in regard to RHA. Officially with ORL and RHA is going to be doing more of this. We are going to have monthly events, or big events, essentially for residents on campus. The first of this year will be taking place later on in October, where we plan on having, drum roll please, our literal drum roll, our October Spooktacular, or at least the name's currently in progress, but essentially a combination of a trick or treat in the residence halls, speed friending event, and a costume contest. So RHA is working in conjunction with ORL to make this happen. So stay tuned. If you live on campus, you will definitely be getting a lot of emails about this very soon. In addition to, as I mentioned earlier during the previous resolution, RHA will also be having its first meeting on October 11th, and we hope to correspond with maybe weekly SGA meetings in the future. Every week we will have our meetings on Monday, SGA will be on Wednesday, and we should be able to collaborate more often. So exciting things for the future. We're also working on potential SGA collaboration with the said October event. I am still in contact with Ryan the Lion about that stuff, but yeah, fun times. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Next, Ursula.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to mention that
A coalition of student organizations, including FEM, WISDOM, and SWE, has been working with Dean Stutz for quite a while now, and we just were able to secure a physical space for a women's center at IIT. So pretty excited to announce that we will be bringing that back. We plan to have an opening event sometime soon, but if anyone is interested in working more on the Women's Center or has strong ideas about what they'd like to see there, we're still in the planning stages if anyone wants to reach out to me about that. But I'm excited. Thank you.
I was on mute. Thank you so much. Lucy, you're next.
I just wanted to give an update and also ask if, or like put it out there in case anyone has any feedback or any like stories that would possibly help. But through academic affairs, I'm working on trying to bring attention to the lack of mental health support for students on campus. And next week, I'm going to meet with Raul, someone from public safety, and then someone from residence life to kind of start a conversation about how to go forward. So if anyone has any like personal experiences that they've had, or just like any feedback or advice, feel free to like reach out to me. So then I can also bring attention to that at my meeting.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lucy. That's great. Do we have anyone else with updates? If not, we will continue on. Okay. Do any members of the student body at large have concerns to raise? If not, we'll move on. So Joel, what were the voting results?
All right, we have quite a few voting results going on. So I'm going to start with the weekly meetings resolution, which was approved with 15 yes, 1 no, and 3 abstains. Next, we're going over to the Greek Council Senator nomination of Patrick Dillinger, and that was unanimously approved with 19 yeses. Or actually, not quite unanimously, 19 yeses, 2 abstains, so effectively unanimous. Next, there's the student organization proposal Barbs at IIT, which was not approved with 6 yeses, 10 noes, and 5 abstains. Then there is the student organization proposal for the International Game Developers Association, which was approved with 17 yeses and 4 abstains. Then there's the Kindred Spirits student organization proposal, which was approved with 16 yeses, 1 no, and 2 abstains. And there's Volleyball Club, which was yet again approved with 13 yeses, 0 noes, and 4 abstains. And then there is the Judicial Board nomination of Alex Ford, who was approved with 17 yeses, 0 noes, and 1 abstain.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Joel. It is now my pleasure to swear in Patrick. Patrick, are you still with us?
Sure am.
Perfect. Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Patrick Dilger,
Do hereby affirm that I shall
do hereby affirm that I shall
justly support and defend the Constitution and bylaws of the Student Government Association
of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology. I vow to fulfill my obligations to my constituents. And my duties as a senator. To the best of my ability. Thank you, Senator, and welcome to SGA. Ben, would you please administer the oath of office to Kiru?
Cool.
Okay, there we go. All right. Kiru, if you could repeat after me. I, Kiru Omad,
I, Kiru Ahmad,
do hereby affirm
do hereby affirm
that I shall justly support
that I shall justly support
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and bylaws of the Student Government Association
and bylaws of the Student Government Association
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
of the Illinois Institute of Technology.
I vow to fulfill my obligations
I vow to fulfill my obligations
to my fellow students
to my fellow students
and my duties as Executive Vice President
and my duties as Executive Vice President
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Exec VP Omad.
Ooh, good job. Welcome back. Unfortunately, now I have to ask, even though we're all happy, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? We have a motion and a second. I'm looking for a second.
I
Thank you,
second.
Derek. Will the ayes please unmute themselves and say aye?
Aye, Captain.
And the nays? Thank you for your hard work tonight and your patience. We'll see you in a week at the retreat. Oh, that's the old line. No retreat. We are adjourned. Ben, please unmute.